right, welcome back to 278 Sports Street, where we talk about everything in sports. I am Bobby LaFavor, and I'm here with
Jacob Miller.
And today we got some questions for you guys. We saw this thing on MLB.com, and we kind of just wanted to go through it and kind of get our opinions on each question. So the first one is, can the Dodgers repeat, and can they win the world? Can they win the? I butchered that one. Can they set a wins record? There we go.
Wow.
Yeah, I butchered it, but I don't know if they can. I can see them. Here's what I can see. I can see them setting the wins record, but I don't see them winning another World Series just because of the way that they play in the postseason.
I think it's flipped, actually. I don't think they're going to get the wins record, but I think they can go back-to-back just because of the pitching staff.
I don't think them getting a new pitching staff is going to change much for them, just considering their history in the postseason. Get rid of this past year. Look at all their other performances in the postseason.
Yeah, but you have to include last year, too. You can't include just all the other postseasons except for one.
Yeah, but they outweigh.
They do outweigh, but the amount of success they had last year, I think, can be repeated. Trevor Bauer's going to bring that kind of energy to that rotation now, and I think that can kind of propel them forward. I don't think 116 wins is going to be their goal for this year, but I think they can repeat.
I don't think it's going to be a goal, but I think it might be.
They'll be close.
Kind of it's like a secondary thing that might just happen based on the way that they're playing.
Yeah, I definitely think they can get close. I don't know if they'll break it. I could see them maybe getting 2 or 3 off, maybe tying it, but I don't think they're going to get 117.
And then next up, we got, can the Padres remain the most exciting team in baseball? Yeah, I think they can, honestly. With that lineup right now, they're looking very good. They got Fernando Tatis Jr., Yu Darvish, Blake Snell. They're set up to have an amazing season.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, 100%. With Tatis being, the face of baseball right now and getting that big extension, he's going to have to bring that day in and day out. And then with them adding, Darvish, Snell, Musgrove to the rotation, some guys in that back end, I think they're going to be really exciting out there in Slam Diego.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Tatis signed that big deal, and I think that was one of the best things that the Padres could have done because they locked him in for the next, 10 years.
Yeah, 100% I agree.
It's gonna be fun to watch them kind of build up. I don't know if they're gonna be a contender this year, not gonna lie, but I think down the road they're definitely set to do some big things.
I think in the next 2 to 3 years they're gonna start winning the West.
Yes.
I would say 2 to 3 years.
They have too many young guys to try and go out and win right now. It might happen at some point. Maybe they'll find success this year, but I think all their young guys kind of just have to learn and learn where their place is, and then they'll go from there.
Yeah. All right. Number 3 is Mike Trout ever going to get that playoff win?
All right. So I know he's their franchise player. I know he's their star, but honestly, I think that for Mike Trout to actually get a playoff victory, he's gonna have to leave LA.
Really?
I think he has to leave the Angels and go to an actual playoff contender.
I don't know if I fully agree on that. Anthony Rendon has been putting up some low-key serious numbers. With him and Trout, I think if they add another bat, and maybe a couple arms, I think they have a chance to push a wild card spot. Look, who's in the West that's really their big contender this year?
Athletics.
Okay, so you have budget ball. The Mariners are not good. The Rangers are terrible.
Rangers actually did pick up some big pickups.
The Astros are probably going to be your number 1 pick. So, I mean, if the Angels can streak a little bit, maybe they can pick up, that spot in the West. Because, since it's not that strong this year.
I don't know. Angels haven't been good since, 2009, and they really haven't added anything other than Trout. And, I mean, Rendon, he puts up numbers, but I just don't think he's as good of a player to, elevate Mike Trout's play. You know what I mean?
They're both gonna have to be on fire.
Like Mike
the
Trout's
whole
gonna
year.
have to have like a 2016 that he won the MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to have a season like that, and Rendon has to have a similar season. All right, can Tony La Russa and the young White Sox stay on the same page?
I think absolutely. I saw an interview with Lucas Giolito, and the first thing he said La Russa talked to him about was earning the team's respect. So I think when you're an older manager coming in with that mindset of I have to impress these young kids because I'm older, I think that's a recipe for success because he knows his place and he knows, those young guys are kind of wild horses. They're not really going to listen to that old school baseball
Well,
mentality.
Trayvon told us about that, how baseball's kind of changing in that way.
Yeah, and I think La Russa's a good enough manager to see that it's changing and that he needs to change with it.
But also, he's Tony La Russa, so I feel like there's some kind of level of respect that you have to give him.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because he's such a legendary coach. Like, if I were on a team and Tony La Russa became my coach,
I'd be ecstatic.
Second he came into the dugout, I'd give him my respect instantly.
Oh, yeah.
Can Francisco Lindor be the savior of Queens? And that is a complete 100% yes.
I think it can be as well.
He's definitely going to be one of their star players this year. He's going to be the spotlight, and he's going to have the spotlight on him, though. You have to think about that.
I think, just from what I've seen during spring training, he's doing, I think he's doing pretty good.
I can tell you that Mets fans are very happy with him so far. It's just Mets fans are very
skeptical.
What it is a player will do good. The second they start doing bad, it's like, oh my God, we have another Yoenis Cespedes. We have another Bobby Bonilla. Like, every time we get this star player, we expect them to be like this everyday, 400 hitter. So I'm going to be happy if Francisco Lindor goes out there, hits maybe 290, 300 for the first season. But he's definitely going to be our superstar, especially in the field, considering we haven't had much fielding in the middle infield of late.
Yeah, absolutely. What I saw during spring training was him just with the power bat. I think that's going to be big in Queens.
Down that right field line.
Exactly. You're playing in a hitter's kind of ballpark there. So I think, and especially him being a switch hitter, you have the party deck on one side and then that short porch on the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll really help them. I don't know if he'll be the savior this year, or exactly when that'll be. I think it might take him a year or two just to adjust with everything.
I mean, playing in New York is a big deal. You're playing in one of the most populated cities in the country. It's like playing in L.A.
I think once he makes the adjustments, he will be the savior of the Queens, yes.
Yeah, the future's bright for him, honestly.
Alrighty. Are the Yankees ever going to reach the World Series again?
Ooh, I wouldn't say never again, but I feel like they have a couple years to kind of figure out what they're doing with themselves.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It says here the 2015 Mets went to the World Series more recently than the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of saying something just about maybe an internal issue there. I'm not really sure what's going on. They've kind of transitioned into that big power roster, and
That's not the Yankees.
And I think maybe it's time for them to realize that's not them, and they need to switch that up.
Yankees are always a hitting team. They always have guys that are going to get on base. They're always going to... Obviously, they're going to have a couple of power bats. You look at that 2009 team, like this article says.
Mm-hmm.
You have A-Rod. You have Hideki Matsui. Jeter. Melky Cabrera. Brett Gardner. Robinson Cano. Mark Teixeira. Wasn't Jorge Posada in the catcher?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all those guys, you have a mixture of power and hit, contact.
Yeah, I think they kind of need to go back to their old ways. The Yankees' old ways of just kind of getting on base and then having your 2 through 4 be your power bats again.
Yeah, for sure. And then next up we got who's the next incredible young star? Who do you think the next star is going to be?
I think it's not even a question in Juan Soto.
Yeah, Juan Soto has been showing off his bat, his fielding, his arm, everything.
This is kind of one of my freezing cold takes. Since I'm a sabermetrics nerd, if Juan Soto can produce the way he's been producing, he's on track to be the next Ted Williams.
Really?
Statistically, yes.
Wow.
That's obviously a very.
I mean,
bold
that's
claim.
like when they said Trevor Story was on pace to hit like 128 home runs in the one season.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's unrealistic. You having a 10, 12-year career and having the same numbers as Ted Williams, at the rate he's at now and how young he is, I think he can excel over that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Juan Soto is going to be, the next best player.
I would say maybe a Rosarena. I mean, it's tough to say with him, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because we got so little to see him last season, being like he came up, it's like August, September, and then kind of just showed what he could do in the postseason and just showed off, got ALCS MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And he was batting 300 in the postseason as a rookie. And he's still a rookie this year. Like, he didn't have enough games to qualify to get out of the rookie status. So this year, he's definitely going to be a person to watch, considering he has something to prove.
I think
He hasn't proven himself yet, honestly.
I think once we get a good sample size with the Rosarena, we'll get a better idea of just kind of what he's like and how he hits. Because again, he's only had a couple games in the big leagues. Pitchers haven't had time to adjust to him yet.
Oh, you're right, yeah.
He's had time to adjust to pitching.
They don't have the scouting report on him, really.
So I think no one has been able to get out Juan Soto with those scouting reports.
Mm-hmm.
Rosarena has really only played in the postseason. If we're going to be completely honest, really, he only shined in the postseason.
I think he played like 20 regular season games.
Yeah, so that's not enough. I need to see a full sample size for Rosarena. I want to see him make all the adjustments, and then I can place him better.
All right, yeah. So did you see that the pitchers were complaining about the juiced balls and how it got confirmed that they were juicing the balls?
And I've seen a couple reports that the laces are a little thicker this year.
Oh.
Breaking balls have been breaking a lot more during spring training.
Oh, wow.
They're not juiced anymore.
They're not juiced and they're breaking more.
They're bringing back the old balls with the thicker seams, lighter. I love it.
So it's going to be a pitcher's game again.
They're trying to make it as balanced as possible now. It's basically a juiced ball with big laces.
Well, wait. In the past, 2-3 seasons, how many home runs have there been? It's like a historic number, isn't it?
It's been a ridiculous amount, yeah.
We have last season 2 seasons ago, we had 10 guys hit 50-plus homers.
Oh, yeah.
It was nuts. But then also, did you see Mike Trout? When I think David Price was complaining about the juice balls, and Mike Trout goes on and goes, "Oh, what am I gonna hit my home runs with now?" And David Price is like, "You're gonna be just fine. Don't worry about it."
I don't think Mike Trout has to worry about all that.
No, Mike Trout is he's a freak of nature, honestly. He finishes in the top 5 for MVP voting every single year.
If he's not the greatest player of all time, I don't know who is.
What player in the history of baseball has done that? I don't think any.
Only the greats.
Yeah.
Only the greats.
I mean, Derek Jeter probably for a pretty large amount of time. Cal Ripken probably at some point. Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Talk
about Ruth Mantle DiMaggio.
Lou Gehrig. You got all those guys. Just the fact that we're talking about Mike Trout on the level of all these stars.
That's unreal. That
Yeah.
he's our generation's, Mickey Mantle, or our generation's, Babe Ruth.
Yeah, and then you got Fernando Tatis Jr. too. He's young, but he's showing signs of being like Mike Trout.
And Juan Soto and Acuna. I think these next guys coming up are going to be really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Because we're coming into a new era. All these guys that we grew up watching, they're retiring now.
Yeah.
We got a whole new class of baseball players coming through, and it's going to be exciting to watch.
Absolutely.
Because all these stars are just out of the ball game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I got nothing else. What about you?
I'm chilling.
All right, this has been 278 Sports Street. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.